Hello everyone, Namaste from India. Good morning to all. Friends, who thought one day Namaste will become a new trendsetter in the world, replacing handshake and hug? Who thought Namaste would not be limited to Namaste Trump, but it will be Namaste for the world? And who thought one day we will be discussing on this webinar platform on Zoom rather than meeting during our exhibition at Pragati Maidan and other parts of the world? This is the life and we have to live with it. The one glimmer of hope which non-woven industry has is that right now non-woven products are serving to the nation, serving to the world for life-saving product. I think it's a great achievement for us. And after COVID-19 gets over, we see a lot of positiveness within the industry fraternity. So welcome all of you to this first worldwide webinar series presented by Radical Communication and Non-Woven exhibition, which is organized by us. I am happy to share that till this last minute, we have about 406 registration from 7 countries. So kudos to all of you. Thank you so much, everybody, for such a overwhelming response to us. We have delegates from India, as India obviously, but we also have delegates from Kenya, Jordan, UAE, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, USA, and I think there is one more country from Egypt. So hello from and namaste from India to all the attendees, all the participants who has joined with us from out of India as well. Thank you so much again. And I think let's move to our webinar, which we are talking about insight on non-woven industries. We have two eminent speakers with us. One we have from India itself, from Vadodara, Gujarat, Mr. Ravi Shankar Gopal, and we have privilege to have Dr. Ram Kumar Sheshadri with us from Texas, USA. Both of them does not need introduction, but since it's a part and parcel of this official procedure, let me begin with Dr. Ravi Shankar Gopal. Dr. Ravi Shankar is a master degree in textile from IIT Delhi, and he has been associated with technical textile and non-woven industries for last 3 decades. Friends, as you know, Vadodara, Gujarat is famous for technocrats who produce a lot of technocrats within the industry fraternity, and we have the privilege to have Mr. Ravi Shankar from Vadodara itself. He has got vast experience in the field of non industry in the technical textile industry. So we welcome Mr. Ravi Shankar, and I would request you to start your presentation on the products which is relevant to India. Over to you, Mr. Ravi Shankar.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good morning, everybody, both from India and outside India, and good day to you depending upon your time zone. I'm here to give you some of my views on what is relevant to India as a non-woven industry in the non-woven industry, because non-woven industry is very complex and there are many possibilities as of now. And with the COVID-19, I think there are more opportunities coming up every day for this industry. And in the last 2-3 years, it was the hygiene industry. This year it is COVID. Maybe next year something else. So this is good news for the industry, for the place of investment, development, product development, and all these areas. So I'm going to give ideas today only on 4 products because of the paucity. I've given 15-20 minutes time. I'm going to give only 4 ideas. 2 maybe 2 of them for the SME sector, that is small and medium enterprise sector, and 2 of them maybe for the larger people with more capability for investment, and also for the textile research associations who focused on non-woven development. Okay, then my next slide is the sorry, it is moving very fast. So the takeaway from these sessions will be to suggest opportunities relevant as of now to the Indian situation, and it may also be relevant to some other countries. What are the specific projects related to the raw material advantages locally in India, and which is the most attractive technology? Just to, before I get on to this, for those, since the majority are from India, I thought we should talk about a little bit of the status of the industry in India. There are many small scale players and only a limited large manufacturers. When I say small scale, they are ranging from anywhere between 1,000 tons to 5,000 tons per annum capacity. And when I say large scale, they are more than 15 to 20 or 25,000 tons per annum capacity. The manufacturing setups are using, at least in the medium scale sectors, are all use machinery, Chinese equipment, and a lot of outdated technology, even in the Chinese equipment. And the product, and they are producing very basic products. Very few, they are just producing one product and then trying to push it down the line. And so there is a very low value addition. The manufacturing, they're also manufacturing non-certified products. There are very few products which are certified. So there is no barrier for somebody else to enter. So there is high competition, which leads to uh, low profitability. There are also small capacity, so economy of scale is not there. And since they are small, there's no marketing setup. So though there is no exceptional innovation except what in India we call jugaad, just to meet some product to just make some product to meet the current needs. And currently everybody is focused on C, but it may not be for very long. So I am suggesting that we should develop natural fiber-based nonwovens in India, because we are fortunate to have grey cotton, we are fortunate to have bleached cotton, we can have treated cotton, which is like flame retardant, hydrophobic, or antibacterial, etc., which the technology is available, the equipment is available. Only question is doing it. And we also have, as I recently hear, there is a lot of hemp is available also, which was not considered earlier for non-wovens, but a lot of developments have taken place. Jute is always there, and jute is already, many people are doing jute, and this coir is available. Again, coir non-wovens are already being made, and the new entrant into this is the banana fiber, which has also been found to be a cost-effective way of making non-wovens for many applications. So if we consider the cotton and natural fiber-based materials with the technologies, machinery, everything is available. So only the market. The market is also available in a big way, which is in personal wear, in hygienes and diapers, food packaging materials, particularly in the pads and other things. The wound care bandages and patches are also in a big way for the cotton based, and already it's being used. So it's only a question of we are using a non-woven technology instead of the traditional spinning and weaving technology, and also for making these products. And incidentally, the new trend in the mask is also lining for the mask. If you have to wear the mask for about 10 hours, 8 hours or 10 hours, the synthetics do not permit you to do it, and it's so uncomfortable. So naturally, the new trend is to have one layer of next to the skin, one layer of next to the skin, and also in one of the intermediary layers, which I think Dr. Ram will be talking. It's is to have a cotton-based non-woven. So I think making cotton-based non-woven is the best way. So the next application, which is floor mops. Typically, the floor mops in India are made with woven roving and then woven on a simple hand loom or power loom. And so this can be totally replaced by cotton-based stitch bonded non-wovens. I will come to the stitch bonded technology a little later, but the kitchen wipes can be entirely made from cotton. Industrial wipes, definitely when we are using cotton rags, it can be converted into a non-woven wipe. The blend of cotton and synthetics is a must for the quilts and pillows and Indian condition, where 100% hollow fiber polyester is definitely not suitable, particularly when you don't have an AC in any particular situation. Some people don't like AC. So the only way is to blend the cotton with the synthetics and make it more comfortable. So the technologies recommended for cotton and natural fibers are the following four as of now, which I think are both economical and feasible. They are the spunlace, or the process called hydroentangling, or it can also be process made through air bonded, or chemical bonded, or low melt fiber, using low melt fiber bonding. We can also make a lot of products using air-laid nonwovens using the cotton fiber, and also the conventional chemical bonding through which a lot of interlinings is made. There are a lot of developments in the chemicals here which are more eco-friendly and which give better performance, and they can be tried and they should be used for making chemical bonded nonwovens, and then the applications will get into more biodegradable applications also. So one of the important is the ban on plastics, which will come in the near future. I think the biodegradable cotton based or natural fiber based material will be the right direction to move. So the second technology, which again uses these kind of fibers, natural fibers, is the stitch bond nonwoven. This is an old technology. Believe me, this was developed in Eastern Europe, but it is highly versatile for natural fibers as a base for nonwovens, and also synthetic fiber, recycled fiber. It can handle any type of fiber, whether it can handle glass also, it can handle ceramics, it can handle any of these kind of things. So there are two kinds of technologies. One is a Malivat, another is a Mali fleece. So Malivat, I'll show some photographs in the next few slides. The Malivat uses a row of just sewing thread. It is simple. You have a web of material. You just sew them. You just put sewing threads and then bond the fibers together instead of any mechanical or electrical, any chemical or any adhesives. So you just use the sewing method. Mali fleece is similar to needle punch technology and uses only the needles to do the same thing. But Malivat and Mali fleece were both developed in Eastern Europe. The machineries are available both from China and Europe. Even big companies like Karl Mayr offer you this technology under a different name. And it can handle glass fiber and ceramic, as I said earlier. So this is a typical stitch bonding machine. You can see the web is, I can't show you here. So the web is coming on the platform. It is coming from the carding line. Then it is just going to a machine where the sewing threads in the red or sewing threads are fed depending on the requirement, either a polyester, a cotton, or a blend, or filament polyester. Then it is just the fiber, the web is bonded, and then it is wound on top. So this is the typical thing. So it is typical to a warp knitting process where you can do either a 9 gauge, 10 gauge, 12 gauge. Number of threads per inch can be controlled depending on the strength requirement, depending on the fiber length, depending on the type of fiber, the denier of the fiber. So it's a very versatile process, a lot of innovation possibility. So people should consider this process. All the things I have talked earlier, like mops, wipes, everything can be made using this technology. And so this is another of the Karl Mayr type of a machine where the beams are carrying the threads, so that when you're handling the thousands of threads, it's better to put it in small beams. And then, so just to give you a overview, this is how the fabric looks like. Enlarged view. The top one is the Malivat and the bottom one is the Mali fleece. Mali fleece will look almost like a needle punch. Only thing is it doesn't have the enough strength. The strength in a Malivat can be controlled by the type of thread, the gauges, and the quality of the thread you use. So typically, as I mentioned earlier, it can be used in biodegradable nonwoven for packaging, hygiene, and floor mops. And even you can use recycle. Typically, just I'll give one example. You can take all the banyan waste and then, which is already bleached and clean, you just open it using a typical openers which are available in, even made in India and Coimbatore. So you just open it and use it for a stitch bonding process. You have a floor mop and the biodegradable packaging material ready. So we have industrial wipes. If you use a polypropylene fiber, you can make a liquid absorbent, which is similar to what we are trying to do with the melt-blown material. Shoe lining, it's already a proven application. A lot of material is imported from China into the country. But for this, we use either mostly polyester fiber. Then it can also be used in applications like, I mean, in fact, Fiat uses hood liners and roof liners using a stitch bonded nonwovens. Single ply roofing, where a lot of spun bond polyester or needle punch polyester, it can also be done using this. And you can use a glass as the swing, the glacian as the swing thread. Then the shrinkage is also controlled, which is the most important thing in this application. Automotive harness tapes, which is for the harness, that is the cables used in the automobile, they're already being used in a big way using the stitch bonded nonwoven, because it is the most cost effective way of producing this product. Then the next I would like to come to is the development of a Sontara type of product, which is nothing but it's a combination of strength of a nonwoven fabric, linen, and offer a barrier and a drape characteristics. This business was maybe 30-40 years. It was run by DuPont, and recently the business was sold to Jacob Home, which is a French company, French headquartered company. Is also an important player in medical disposable products. That shows that this product is a proven product. It's got all the approvals. Only thing, the technology was very closed, but DuPont has sold this to Jacob Home. So Sontara, I will not get into too much deep into this, but it is the most approved product for many years, till recently when SMMS and SSMMS and all this material came. Till then, this was a most approved product for disposable, for the preventing of hospital infections, including surgical gowns, drapes, caps, and even today, a lot of Sontara is used, but Sontara is not available as it is being produced by only one company in the world, but equivalents are being made. So it will take some time before the because it has got an excellent barrier property. It is already being approved for HAI, that means hospital acquired infection, hepatitis B, HIV, and also in areas for since it is disposable in nature, they have a 40%. They had a 40%. I won't say that 40% share in medical market and a 70% share in surgical equipment market till recently, when DuPont was taking care of this. So it is basically, I'll just get into it, is basically a wood pulp and polyester and spun lace. This spun lace is the process, wood pulp and polyester is the raw material. So wood pulp can be, it can be treated on a typical stenter with water repellent chemicals, can also be made water repellent to prevent blood or other fluids from passing through. The fibers are tightly enmeshed. I will show you a photograph next. You can have a look at it, and the material has no holes and resulting in excellent barrier performance, similar to what we are trying to achieve by SSMMS and things like that. There are no adhesives, no thermally fused resins are used. There is no concern regarding residual chemical or binder in this particular thing. So and on the left you can see the Sontara, a microscopic image of Sontara, a microscopic image of a regular woven gowns fabric which is used. So you see here is a 50 micron pore. Here will be less than a 5 micron pore, depending on how you make it. So the next technology I am recommending for development under Indian conditions, I'm quite sure the patents are over and it can be developed. It's a Tyvek nonwoven. According to the DuPont's website, again, it's a DuPont product. The fibers are 0.5 to 10 micron. Typically, compared to 75 micron for a human hair, and the best achievable in a spun bond process, maybe it is about 20 micron, 10 to 20 microns. So, and the 0.5 micron is available only by a very high level of microfiber, nanofiber spinning, which is most expensive and which is still not up to date, not commercially been used in a big way. So, if Tyvek is not possible, that should be the next way. So Tyvek is a very lightweight, class 1 flammability. It's a chemical resistant, dimensionally stabilized. It is opaque. It is neutral pH and tear resistant. I think it has got one of the best tear resistance for the grammage you use. I think that is why it is used in gowns and aprons, because it's a very, very stable product. So the I will skip because Tyvek is already proven. Tyvek is often used as a house wrap, synthetic material used to protect buildings in cold climates, so that it is breathable. At the same time, insulation is provided, and as a personal protective equipment against SARS-CoV virus, that was the material which was approved also. The material is difficult to tear, but can easily cut with scissors or a knife. Water vapor can pass through, but liquid vapor cannot. This is what we want. This is what we call breathability. All these properties have led to Tyvek. Tyvek can be made in several grades. It can also be coated if you want a waterproof, or it can be with a permeable coating. We can control the pore size. So variety of applications. So Tyvek is such a great product. Since the technology is closely guarded, it has not developed. The day somebody else develops this product, the market is going to be huge. So the prices are going to come down, and it is a biggest threat to SSMMS, SMMS, and like this kind of materials. Unfortunately, it was not the technology was not available for a long time. So it can be used in coverall, it can be used in gowns, it can be used in house wrap. Pharma packaging uses it in a big way, particularly because it can be sterilized. So it is used in sterilized wrap. It can be used in packaging and paper. It can be used in construction. Mattress protector. In India, you can see many mattress protectors with Tyvek are already available in the market. They are importing and then stitching it to the right. Printing paper, it can be printed. So envelopes are easily made. And the coverall for all industries. We are not talking of the medical. It can be used in food processing. It can be used in semiconductor, where there are some limitations on electrical conductivity. This is the right material. The cargo handling in the shipyards, and also oil and petrochemical industry uses it in a big way. So with these few technologies, I think whatever today, I think the Indian industry should look into this, and I'm quite sure if you need any help, I'm always available. And I think we have a bright future in the non-woven industry. With this, I would like to end, and the question and answer session, as you feel it is right now or later, we can take it. Thank you, Sanyal.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Ravi Shankar. I think question answer session will be keeping at the last once Dr. Seshadri complete his presentation. So I think you can stop sharing your screen so we move further.
Okay.
Uh,
Okay, I'll stop the sharing.
Yes, friends, thank you so much for such a large number is already there. I can see on my screen that as of now, you can see about 241 participants already watching this webinar from different parts of the world. Now we move to our next panelist. Before that, we are making some survey. So I think I would request my team to have that survey on your screen for 30 seconds. And by the time I give introduction of Dr. Seshadri, I think you can reply of that survey. So first of all, Dr. Seshadri, thank you so much. I know it's midnight in Texas. I guess about 12:15 a.m. in Texas. So thank you so much again for confirming this presentation to us. Dr. Seshadri Ramkumar is a full professor at Texas Tech University, having served there since 1999 after receiving his PhD from the University of Leeds in the United Kingdom in material science. Among Dr. Ramkumar's area of expertise include advanced material and the functional finishing of fibrous material, in which of his two inventions have become commercialized: FiberTech, a toxic chemical wipe, and the Tolite wipe. Dr. Ramkumar has been recognized by the highest award in the field of Honorary Fellow of Textile Association of India and Mark Hollingsworth Technical Prize for Non-Woven Research by TAPPI. He is the publisher of a column called Text Tips, where he disseminates current events in the textile research and development through the world. So thank you so much, Dr. Seshadri, and we all are waiting to hear from you. So over to you, Dr. Seshadri. You need to unmute yourself, Dr. Seshadri.
from
Dr.
your
Sheshadri?
end.
Yeah, thank you. Go
Hello?
ahead. Yes, we can hear you, Dr. Sheshadri.
Okay, good morning, namaste. It is indeed good morning to me. It's 25 past midnight, so that's fine. I'm happy to do so. First, let me thank Desai and his team for putting this together. And as he alluded to, I think it's a good response. I've been doing these webinars around the world non-stop anyway, so my presentations have reached over 1,000 people now. That's good. And I'm also very happy to follow Sri Ravi Shankar, whom I have known for nearly 20 years when I started doing research in the field. Okay, he touched upon certain product lines for India, but my presentation is going to be focused on what's happening in the world with regard to COVID and how textile per se, in particular non-woven industry can do. So I'm going to give you a take-home mantra, what an industry should do. How should they build products? How should they market? What are the things they do? This is not in very particular to specific to the current situation, but it is just a generic one. So I'll start with that, and people know who am I in this field. Okay, it's not letting me move the slide. Okay, so where are we? So why we are talking about non-wovens is because of this COVID-19. It's basically a human pathogenic virus. I'm not going to talk as a scientist here, but just to tell you the gravity of the situation, why the whole world is scrambling to come up with countermeasures. There are two types of countermeasures. One, medical and non-medical. We are not in the medical field, so we are focused on non-medical countermeasures. This is the gravity of the situation. So once this trend has been set, it's because of the psychological ambience. There will be always a stigma with regard to closeness. So social distancing will be practiced. And I've been told that at least for next 1 or 2 years, even traveling in airlines like we do normally, I'm normally in India during summer, but I couldn't be here this time. So there needs to be some protective measures. So this COVID-19 situation will set a new trend, which has been alluded to by Mr. Ravi Shankar. Okay, as I was making this slide, if you look at it, Indian confirmed cases is around 47,000. But today, if you look at the situation today, it has crossed nearly 55,000, 56,383, and number of confirmed deaths in India is roughly 1,890. Have in mind that the tests have been very limited, unlike United States, where the range that is covered in the test is more. So what is happening is it's increasing, and there is a report that the peak will happen in India in June and July. But I hope and I wish and pray that that situation do not occur. So given this situation, it has resulted in human catastrophe, human stress, psychological distress. All these have accumulated into an economic downfall. The latest economic forecast by IMF, why I'm setting this, I'm going to build based on this. What are the opportunities there? Even though we don't wish that we get such opportunities at the sacrifice of human life and health, but this is what is happening. So the last bullet point on IMF forecast is January. But now I'm going to tell you how we can use this situation and enhance our strength. Okay, global economic GDP. This is not PPP GDP. It is a average gross domestic product is going to shrink by 3% globally. That if this situation continues and there is a second wave of this virus of attack, most probably in fall, this will double. So there will be about 6 to 9% shrinkage in global GDP. That's a really frightening figure. If this continues, $9 trillion in US dollar strength will be wiped out from the economy. So this is a gloomy picture. But next slide is what I'm going to tell. How do we use this situation? This is the take-home pyramid. Every industry, whether you are in sari making, whether you are a trader of cotton, or you are a trader of gems, This is a take-home slide. An industry should be gauged by 4 aspects. Okay, this is what US Department of Defense uses. So this is applicable to everybody. First, we need to sense where we are. I have given you an earlier slide to show where we are. So the economy is in downfall. Okay, the economy is shrinking. So that is the sense. If that's the case, let's not worry about shining. At least we have to sustain. So then we need to shape. What do I do? That is known as shaping or modeling. We have sensed. Okay. Now with 24/7 news channels, you don't have to worry. Negative news journalists love it. Okay. Whether it's a robbery, whether it is some, I don't want to talk in the public forum. It's robbery or some death or some killing or whatever it is. Journalists love it because that's how they make money. Okay. So we can sense what is happening. Then we got to be shrewd enough to shape. Shape money. What do I do? Okay. Then develop products. Particularly in textile, all products will fall under 2 categories. One, to shield or protect. Whether it is to protect your life, which we call PPE, to which masks fall into. I'll tell you how to develop masks and all. I've been given 50 minutes, so you have to bear with me for 50 minutes. But I just want to infuse as much information. I guess it was a free forum, so you won't get this much information from Ravi Shankar and all for free. So take it as much as you can. So shielding or protecting. The protection can be either to protect the modesty and decency, that is common fiber to fashion supply chain. Then advanced shielding is known as personal protection. Among the personal protection right now, the most talked after product is masks. And then sustain. Once you protect, what do? You need to wipe, you need to clean. So shielding, sustaining are the 2 products that can come out. You can think so many. I'm not going to say it is going to be stitch banded or it is going to be a needle. Okay, when I finish mine, your mind will open up to a lot of products what you can do. Okay, this is the subject I teach around the world for 21 years. So I'll take you and you have to walk with me so that you can grab as much as information. So there are 4 yeses. So I'm going to give you 2 important information. One is 4 yes and 3 Fs. That's all. It's not a failing rank. 4 yes and 3 Fs. That's all. Once you know what these 4 Fs, 4 yes and 3 Fs are, you have captured non-woven sector. Sense, shape, shield, and sustain. Okay. So that will open up the imagination. Then what are the type of material I could use to develop shield and sustain? Predominantly for shielding and sustaining, you need to have a porous structure. There are little bit technical term. I got to talk, so you got to bear with me. So why can't I use an average poplin or an average woven fabric? Because we are talking about protection and we are talking about wiping. These are predominantly surface determining factors. That means you need to have a raised surface. If you have to have a raised surface, a highly twisted cotton yarn may not be functional. So you need to come up with a structure which is raised. I'm talking in a Joe Blow term. I'm talking in an Aam Aadmi term. So raised means high surface area. So you need to have a textile material which will have high surface area, whether to absorb the liquid, like Ravi talked about the Tyvek. So it is a liquid absorbent. If it's a liquid absorbent, it's a liquid repellent. So if it is a liquid absorbent, as a wipe, you need to have a raised surface. It's not like sanding. The raised surface here refers to high surface area. So we have to think products and materials which are beyond the common fiber to fashion supply chain. There comes products known as technical textiles. What are technical textiles? These are value-added products where aesthetics and fashion is not a criteria, rather than functionality is a criteria. You can make these products by using any technology in combination. Woven alone may not be applicable, but you could use it in some form of combination. So what is the ideal protection situation we want? We want this kind of an ideal protection situation known as joint service lightweight integrated suit technology. Don't worry about it. This is the ideal protection one envisages. This is the ideal protection like Amrit from Devalok. It's an ideal protection. It's a panacea. It's like a holy grail. This is impossible. United States Defense has it, and my fiber technology is part of it. So we don't want to go to, this is an ideal situation in a utopic world. If the world is like Devalok, then we can get this. This is not possible. Then you need to play with the materials at hand. So forget this. So let's be practical and realistic. That is also I want to tell. First, I have given you an important slide on how to adjust your industry, sense, shape. If you are in textile, leather, and fibrous and related industries, you can develop 2 products whose function is going to sense and shape. That's one. Second point is be realistic and practical. Don't hope that I'm going to bring some Freudenberg technology to India. It's not possible. What my concept has been to either repurpose the existing instrumentation or start an industry with limited investment. So this is not practical. Second thing, be realistic. You can keep on looking high, but after some time your neck will sprain, right? So you can't even turn your neck after some time if you keep on looking. No. So one has to be realistic. So second point. Third point, I told you about 3 F's. So the 3 F's should give you first that product what we are discussing now, all types of protection, whether it is a geomembrane. What is the function of a geomembrane? Even though it's not a subject matter of this talk, geomembrane protects the base soil, right? So all protection material will follow into 3 F's. 3 F as in Frank. 1, it is to be functional. So aesthetics and fashion is not a criteria. It should have certain additional functionality. Second F is it should have certain fit. That means it should take the shape of the body or take the shape of the object it has to protect. That is known as fitness. And the third one is if it's going to be a personal protective equipment, PPE, like coveralls, Ravi Shankar alluded to, it should have certain comfort, or it is known as form. It's known as form factor, functionality, fit factor, form factor. So those are the 3 F's your product should do, whether it is an automobile textile. If it's an automobile textile, it should have a functionality. What is the functionality of the hood liner? The hood liner has to be an insulating material. It should also give you a lightweightness, but a structure, right? So everything will fall into this. So I'll teach you as if you would be opening up in your industry into number of products as you can think. Sky is the limit as far as you can imagine. Okay, now we'll bottle down. So I said shielding and sustaining. Okay, sustaining means preserving, like wipes and things and so on and so forth. Now I'll take you through an individual protecting or a shielding product, textile product. That's known as protective textiles. P should lead to 3 F's. Just walk with me. P should lead to 3 F's. So you can, if you can imagine these 3 factors, function, fit, and form, all the protective textiles you can develop. So this chart, this gang chart I have given you will open up into lot of products as long as you take, even if you take, I'll tell you an example how we made a mask and we came up with a new technology of mask and a new category has evolved and it has become commercial. If you Google me, all the press has carried it, you will know it. So protection is into 3. What are the 3 types of protection? These are all the only 3 products you can think. There are subcategories. One is defense protection. We don't have to worry now. Second one is a medical protection and consumer protection. That's what is happening now. What are the protective PPE we are using? It goes to medical protection and consumer protection. Depending upon the level of protection, you can bottle these products into either medical protection or consumer protection. Okay, then why we should use non-wovens? I told you, we are talking about shielding and sustaining. So you need to have enhanced surface area. That means that for a given area, the number of surfaces available to do the functionality. The functionality for a mask is to filter these viruses. We don't have to say virus, any microbes, particulate material, whether it's an air, even with the Visakhapatnam air leak, masks get to use. Okay, once you have this base understanding, you don't have to, I've been getting hundreds of emails. Can I use this class? I'll tell you everything, so you don't even have to email me or Ravi, but I don't want to eat the business of Ravi. So send him a lot of email. Okay, so why non-wovens? Because non-wovens are porous structures, bulky structures. So it will, by its own innate capability, uska nature hoga. So by its innate capability, it will be able to trap the particles. Second, how do you trap the particle? It should have very fine holes or pores. Second, how are particles carried in the air? These are carried through the air. So if you are able to stop the flow of air, okay, but it is not possible in a woven cloth because woven cloth has a regular structure. There are warps and webs, horizontal and vertical lines going. So the air knows how to pass between the lines. Whereas in non-wovens, you have no control on how the fibers are arranged. So when you have no control on how the fibers are arranged, the resistance to the airflow will be more. The air has to find a tortuous path. It's like Nadi flowing, okay? Oh, Ganga, no? Himalayas. From Himalayas, it doesn't have control. So sometimes it may flow in one direction, sometimes it may flow in another direction because there are a lot of pahad hai. So likewise, it has taken hundreds of years for Ganga to find his own path because these natural barrier materials offer the resistance to flow. So instead of having an air to flow smoothly, you are creating a tortuous path. So these are the basic concepts I have told you. So what are non-wovens? Quickly, I'll rush through. There are only 5 technologies in non-wovens. We alluded to, but I'll explain to you so that you won't have any confusion. So non-wovens are not wovens. You take a fiber, put it in a black box. There are only 5 black boxes. The next step you get is a fabric. Why this technology came into vogue? Why is this technology used? This technology is used because it is predominantly going into making products that are single use. If it's a single use, a common Joe Blow or an Aam Aadmi will not be willing to pay more for an object which he is going to use for a single time or few times. So it is a single use or semi-durable. So that's what you need to do. If it's a single use product, your cost of the material should be less. How do you control the cost? It's not an economics class. I do have a lot of classes I do. If Sam Desai wants, we can talk about costing in another one more webinar, but not at 1 o'clock in the morning. So what happens is, cost, you reduce the cost by controlling the cost of raw material. But in this case, it is fixed. Then what do? You cut the operations that are used to make the final product. So we are cutting the number of steps used to make the final product. Hence, it is known as non-woven. So we were the first one to define some 20 years back a simple definition. These are flat structures made by 2 steps. 1, bonding and entangling the fibers. You just take a fiber, you simply make it into a flat form, simply make it into a flat structure and then bond by just 3 means: mechanical means, chemical means, thermal means. That's all. That's all non-woven. You can, if you are in Coimbatore and Ahmedabad, use your imagination and then you develop products. So you take a fiber, don't make a yarn, make it into a flat form. So carved, instead of getting a twisted sliver, make it in a web form. So that's a phase 1. Phase 2, bonding. The 3 different ways of bonding: mechanical bonding, thermal bonding, chemical bonding. That's it. That's it. So there are, when you use this technology, there are only 5 ways to make these non-wovens. Commercially, I'm telling. Stitch bonding, Ravi Shankar alluded to. Okay. So if you do it, There are three types of fiber you use. One, a pellet, a chip, polymer chip. Second is a synthetic fiber like your polyester fiber or a polypropylene fiber. And then third one is a natural fiber. So there are 3 methods to make, 5 technologies to make 3 types of fiber. That's all. 3, 5, 3. You put that in different combination, you will develop from headliners to a NASA suit to a JS list to everything and anything. Finish. So there are only 3 types of fibers you can use. Among those fiber, common fiber are polypropylene, polyester, regenerated cellulose, which is basically viscous, and very little proportion so far of cotton. There are only 4: polyester, polypropylene, regenerated cellulose, whether it's a lyocell or viscose or you name it, anything regenerated, and then cotton. Okay. And if you are using synthetic material, the product you get is known as spun melt. एक ही word है, spun melt. Okay. एकम ही, only one word. So it is known as spun melt. Spun melt can be subcategorized into melt blown and spun bond. The common grocery bag is spun bond, which is not porous. Whereas without strength, what you get is known as melt blown. As the name indicates, it gets blown by air. So that's melt blown. Okay. Melt blown, spun bond, needle punching, spun lacing, chemical bonding, thermal bonding. That's it. There are only 6. Chemical and thermal can go in hand to hand. So we can club them together, but it's okay. Needle punching, spun lacing is the common term, but the technology is known as hydro-entangling. Then melt blown, spun bond, thermal bonding, chemical bonding. That's all. Okay. So 3, 4 fibers, 6 technologies. What are all the products you can develop? All these products you can develop as long as these are not put to repeated washes, because the durability of non-wovens is relatively less compared to woven. So we'll take these 3 products which are in hot now. Okay, very fashionable per se. Hospital fabrics, gowns, and face masks. Okay, I'll tell you how it is. So if you have not seen the technology, I'll just show you some slides. Then from now on, there are a lot of pictures. So this is a typical needle punching setup. Needle punching is the least expensive. Of course, air laying is much less expensive. This is less expensive. It's more or less akin to woolen carding. Okay, this is my lab. $6 million investment as of today. Okay, American universities are rich, you know that. So we can afford to do it, but that's fine. So it is basically close, more or less close to woolen carding. You get a web and then use a set of needles to bond it. Okay, there are a couple of companies, Truschler, Delo, so on and so forth, are manufacturing. The problem in India is we don't have machinery manufacturers to do this in India, none. Okay, Chinese are there, that's what their edge is. Okay, now we can't do it in a quick time frame, but that's one weakness in Indian setup. So this takes a web, carded web, uses a set of needles, and then it bonds. Okay, this allows natural fibers, synthetic fiber in the fiber form to do. This is a setup. I will ask Mr. Desai to share the slide as a PDF so you can have it. So this is the simple setup. Next comes melt blowing. Here the starting material is a polymer in a chip form. Okay, this is a polymer in a chip form. Melt blown have one of the highest surface area. All face masks will have a melt blown structure. Okay, this is like fiber extrusion, but you are not giving twist to the filament, so the fibers arrange on their own. Technically, it is known as ubiquitous random distribution. I have already alluded to the reason for having a ubiquitous random distribution of fibers to provide tortuous flow. Okay, in India, there is very limited manufacturer, no machinery capability at all, but it's imported mostly from China. But if it's a broader machine, 5.5 meters and so on and so forth, German machineries are there, Reifenhauser. Okay. This is another spun bond. What is the difference between a spun bond and melt blown? Spun bond is a twisted filament, basically. I'm talking twisted, it's thermal bonding is there. If there is no bonding in melt blowing, it becomes weak. So melt blown structure cannot be used on their own. It needs spun bond. That is the reason we are using SMS, short message service. Spun bond, melt blown, spun bond. So I'm just giving you very little bitty information on the technology, so you know now what are all the products. Now it's a fun. So I have shown you the needle punching technology. That needle punching technology is used to develop these airline blankets. Okay. And this is a typical carded resin bonded filter. This is your automobile filter. This is your engine filter. These will have some portion of a carded material that can be carded. Say, what are those that can be carded? Any staple fiber. These are predominantly polyester, and they might have blended little bit of short fibers or pulp, because pulp is the cheapest material one can think of. Okay, needle punching, carded resin bonding. It will take a time. This is basically a 80 GSM spun bond. Your Walmart bag, your grocery bag. These are not 5 micron thin, 0.5 micron thin polyethylene bags. So there is no need to band them. These are not single use. These are multiple use. These are the strongest non-woven simple spun bond. This will not have filtration capability. This is only for packaging. This is known as PackTech in Indian terms. So this is again lightweight spun bond, no meltblown. Meltblown is expensive. Wherever packaging is going to happen, just use spun bond. Whether it is a grocery bag, which is also a packing bag, but it should be rugged, it should be more strong. So you are using the higher weight, 60 to 80, even 100 GSM. This will be 50 GSM spun bond, all your pillow covers, okay? Then 12 GSM, 15 GSM, even 7 GSM spun bond, or a combination of spun bond, meltblown, spun bond is used as a top cover of a diaper. The functionality of diaper is not this spun bond, meltblown, spun bond, but it's the pulp or super absorbent polymers. These are all polyacrylonitrile material. We import basically from Taiwan, Korea, so on and so forth. And an ordinary carded resin bonded substrate can be used as a wipe. Ravi alluded to wound bandages. Okay, depending upon the quality requirement, you can use different technology. High-end wipes are made using spun lacing. Spun lacing is a costly investment. So India, there are 2 to 3 lines, fully functional lines, but some are emerging as well, okay? So that is a costly investment. So spun lace is the high-end wipe that uses staple fibers, predominantly polyester and viscose. Okay, so many diapers. These are all the things which you see. Ravi alluded to Jacob Holmes. They are also into wet wipes, formulation plus wipe. Now, this is a tip. What can India do? This is a shoddy material. You take a carded web, put some resin into it, and you get a lofty structure like that. This can be used as your upholstery cushion material, your insulation material. When you reduce the size, it becomes the filter material for a face mask. If some industry is having these, this is basically a garneted denim. You take a denim and then cut it and shred it. That is the denim material. I specifically put this picture, but then you reduce the thickness of it and then bond it. What are the types of bonding I told you? Mechanical bonding, chemical bonding, resin bonding. Think of any bonding you have in your industry. If you are a weaving industry, if you are a finishing industry, you can think of different bonding. Okay, when you bond it and make it light, what is this? Can you tell me if this is a regular arrangement? No, it is an irregular arrangement. So those people who have these products can reduce the thickness. When they reduce the thickness, it becomes a filter material. So you don't have to invest. I'm not talking about N95. That is a whole new ball game. Let's not go there. But what did I say? There is going to be a trend for enhanced face mask. Ordinary cotton cloth will not be a face mask. It will be a face cover. Look at Google Me. I have written very recently simple article on classification of masks. Okay, Google Me, you will know. And okay, then if you have a spun bond, meltblown is non-existing. But if you have spun bond, what is the problem with spun bond? One, it is not breathable. Ravi told about Tyvek that it is permeable to water vapor. Ordinary spun bond may not have the breathability. You can do it if you simply take it into even your sanding machine. If you just take a sanding machine and then pass lightly these spun-bond material, 50 GSM spun-bond material. It will have the strength, but the sanding may give you some little pores giving breathability. I've already given you one tip for industry to do. So these are typical hospital surgical drips. Now, and this is what the world is looking for, N95. Now we come to the big game now. What are these masks? Okay, so now you know the technology. Now you know how you have to build your industry. Now we'll go into masks. What are masks? This is the problem. As is the case, China dominates the surgical mask. 80% of the simple plastic mask, I call them plastic mask or surgical mask, is dominated by Chinese. But that situation will change. Okay, so there is an opportunity, but the margin is less. Okay, I'm going to skip this mechanism because it's for the paucity of time. Okay, now we come. There are only 4. Always I give you take-home message. There are only 4 S, 3 Fs, 3 types of bonding, 6 types of technology. Now we will talk in the next few slides about mass, because I know everybody will be itching for this information. Okay, I've been talking non-stop 40 minutes, so my voice is going down. But there are only 4 types of masks. The 4th category was devised by me. First is known as a respirator mask, or commonly known as N95. These are N refers to non-oil absorbent. That is the technical. But now people, journalists, common journalists use it in different vernacular. That's fine. If it can trap 95% of a 0.3 micron size particle, in other words, if there is 100 particle going in through the mask, 95 particles are held, only 5 particles are coming out. It is known as N95. That's the gold standard. Then comes the plastic mask, I said, which is spun bond, melt-blown spun bond, dominated by Chinese. Okay, those are surgical masks. They will not trap microbes. They will not trap bacteria. They will not trap virus. Then came face cover. You take your, there's so many, Jugadu, they said, Ravi Shankar talked about Jugadu, no? So they took plastic cover, put their face. So anything that covers the face is a face cover. But face cover will only prevent exhalation, your saliva, your droplets from your mouth. It will not have filtration. We don't in India. This is a problem. Okay. This, we have technology, but still dominated by Chinese. This anybody can do face cover, but it's of no use. But it is of use. Better to have it rather not having. Okay, so it prevents exhalation. So it may not protect you, but it may protect the environment. Okay, now what can we do? This is what it is. What can we do to improve these two categories? Mask, face cover. You take a face cover and add a filter material to it. When you take a face cover, your common cotton, your t-shirt has no, because even if you put t-shirt, you blow smoke through t-shirt and you keep a cigarette lighter. That video is there. If you Google me, you will see it. You put a cigarette lighter or a lamp or a diya, and then you blow it, do it at your home. You cover your face, right? Your ordinary t-shirt, take it, cover your face. Keep a diya, blow air. The diya will go away. It will extinguish the light because the pores are so big. This is the problem. So a face cover is not a filter. But you can't make the N95. Leave alone the pattern. It needs lot of components. Surgical masks are not effective filter, but they are filter against bodily fluid. Surgical masks were not meant for viruses. They were meant for surgeons in a hospital setting where blood flow is involved. When somebody is doing surgery, blood splashes. So that is protecting bodily fluid transmission. That's not also a filter. And on top of it, they have a loose structure. They don't have fit. What did I say? Filter should have three. Imagine functionality. What is the functionality of a filter? It should filter. Second thing is it should have fit. This is what it is. If you look at an N95, it has a fitness. You see, it will go on fit properly, but then it will not have comfort. So the form will not be there. Same thing, this surgical mask neither has efficient filtration, but I'm not saying it will have zero filtration. It will have, it will have some filtration, up to 60 to 70% filtration it will have, not 95, but it will be very loose, so it doesn't have fit. What is the purpose even if it has 65% filtration if it's loose? That is the reason if you take a face cover and add a filter layer, imagination is the limit for you to think about filter. Even you can take a coffee filter paper, take it into multiple layers, bond it to your common cloth. That becomes a filtering face cover. That filtering face cover is known as a Pfizer. This is a new category we have developed. It is catching fire like anything, right? Because a lot of industries are making money, but I'm not making money. That's fine. Okay, so that is known as face cover with filtration capability is known as Pfizer. So there are 4 categories of filters you can think of. Respiratory filters or FFRs, surgical mask, ordinary face cover, your cotton cloth, and then enhanced cotton cloth with a filter layer is known as a Pfizer. So now I'll show you a lot of pictures of face mask. So this is a typical spun-bond, melt-blown spun-bond, ordinary Chinese product. It protects the surgeon and the wearer from bodily spills, 65 to 70% particulate filtration, loose fit. Okay. And logistically, it is a nightmare. If it's not a ear loop, if it's a tying one, it's a logistical nightmare. What does this have? This has melt blown. This is a typical melt blown product. You wouldn't have seen it. This is how it is. I told you the fiber should be randomly arranged. You can see the fiber is randomly arranged, polypropylene fiber, but it has no strength. So this is what gives filtration capability, that 65% filtration capability to your surgical mask. So this is an actual gold standard N95, known as, the technical term is FFRs, filtering face piece respirator. It is highly certified products governed by CDC, Central Disease Agency. This is a Central Disease Control Body in Atlanta, Georgia. It's very highly tight control. Chinese do everything what Americans do. So they have come up with their own technology known as KN95. Okay. So this is the gold standard, but this is patent protected. Okay. Okay. I'm not going to talk much, but this is what it is. These were meant to be single use, but now because of the shortage, they are trying to decontaminate. So this is the gold standard. Let's not go there. Now, this is the thing which has come out of our lab, but it has become a commercial success known as Pfizer. This is having a better fit, more or less similar to N95. Imagine, for next 5 to 10 years, the demand for mask, improved mask will go up. So this has the fitness, okay? This has the form fitness, and it also has comfort depending upon the type of the fiber you use. Better than your ordinary cloth cover, face cover, because it has a lining material, which Ravi Shankar alluded to. Is the lining material is a filter material. Then how can you improve? Keep on improving is you could add some functionalizing chemistry to it. What are all the different types of chemistry? You can think about catalytic particles. So many different types of catalytic particles. So I have finished with the mask. Second thing is sustaining. Okay, mask is there, but I need to wipe my body. What do? You could take an ordinary alcohol impregnated wipe material. The wipe can be carded, resin bonded. The wipe can be needle punched. The wipe can be spun laced or hydro entangled. And this is the technology US government uses that has come out from the needle punching. Nobody, that is the trick. Once you have the basic understanding, you don't have to go for a fancy 3 million euro equipment. Reifenhauser 5.5 line will be around 3 to 4 million euro. Who has the money now? Right? Not at this time. Okay. So this technology evolved out of repurposing the needling technology. Everybody might have, India has a lot of needle punching technology. I know minimum 30, 40 lines will be there. They're all making bag filters, okay, for the coal and gas industry bag filter. You could repurpose it, make a thin, lightweight fabric that will become a filter material, as well as it becomes an industrial and consumer wipe. Wipes are needed next to face mask in this. So this is the FiberTech technology which can trap gas particle. If you see this Vizag styrene gas plant, this will be able to hold and prevent the entry of gas into nostrils. Okay, same ordinary needle punch. So these are the wipes. Think about different types of wipe. There again, ordinary cotton cloth will not be able to wipe efficiently. It may be wiping, it may be cleaning. There is a difference between cleaning and wiping. I'm talking about fine particles to be removed. That type of cleaning is known as decontamination. So you take an ordinary cotton cloth, use your imagination to do what? To improve its surface area. There you had it. And all these products, you can think, I'm not recommending anything nano. Those will not fly in India. All these informations are being put out by me in a column known as Tech Snips that goes to around 4,000 people around the world. If you are interested, email to me. Now I'll give you a recap what we did. How can an industry survive? 4 yes. First sense, where am I? Am I a trader? Am I a spinning man? Am I a guy who is looking for something, guy or a girl looking for something? So you sense yourself. Okay. Then shape, depending upon your finance, your liquidity, your contacts, you shape yourself. It's like December 31st mania. From tomorrow, I'm going to diet. I'm going to run 6 miles. That's what it is. So you are shaping yourself first. You sense that, oh, I'm so big. Okay, my wife doesn't like me, so I got to reduce, do something badly I got to do. That's you are sensing. Okay, everybody senses. It's dreaming. That's all it is. Sensing is dreaming. Okay. Then you have to, the dream has to be implemented. So you try to chart out something. So from tomorrow, I'm going for a 15-hour fast. I'm not going to eat, poha. What do you eat in Gujarat? What is the dokla? So I'm not going to eat that. Okay, so you are modeling, you are shaping. Once you model and shape, what you got to do? You got to shield yourself. So you got to resist your temptation of your dokla. So you shield. Once you shield, you got to stick to your diet and exercise regimen. That is known as sustaining. You see, you don't have to only take these concepts for your industry. This 4 years works even for your day-to-day. Okay, sense, shape, shield, sustain. Once you know then what products you will want to make, it has to fit to 3. 1, it should have functionality. It should do something. If I'm going to get a treadmill, it should help you to reduce weight, right? That's the requirement of a treadmill. So it's a functionality, but then it should fit. I'm just giving you life example. The treadmill should be affordable. So it should have a certain fit factor. Then the treadmill should be good enough for your entire family to use. So that's a comfort factor. Functionality, fitness, and form. Once you know that, you will be able to develop a lot of products with minimum investment. But what is the investment required? Your sweat equity and your knowledge investment. That's what it is. So that's the reason, if anybody is interested, but I may not be able to add you immediately, but I will try my best to add. You can email me s.ramkumar@ttu.edu. If there are any questions, I will take a few because it's already 1:10. I hope what I have done is at least I have placed before you how to build an industry, what one should do. It is applicable even to your life, not only your life, my life too. Okay. And then try to reach out to people and always talk to people beyond your comfort zone. If you are just a baniya, if you are just a trader in a silk saree, it is not necessary you should only go to Bhiwandi. Once in a while, go to some other industry so you can pick somebody's brain and diversify. These are all tips which doesn't cost you anything. It's like TV. TV is the cheap entertainment these days. Okay. So likewise, you plan. And I hope I have convinced you, even in the time of distress, there are opportunities. And I wish and hope the world gets safer and you all remain safe. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Seshadri, for your wonderful presentation. I think everybody is, I can see the chart, and I think a lot of people are very happy with your presentation. And I would like to have your permission to, distribute your presentation to a lot of participants who are asking. So with your approval.
Yeah, but you can distribute it as a PDF, not as a PowerPoint.
Sure, we will do that. Thank you so much. Same, Mr. Ravi Shankar, also, if you permit, then we would like to circulate your presentation as well, because we have a lot of requests on our chat. Mr. Ravi Shankar, you have to unmute yourself. Friends, yeah. So, with your permission, Mr. Ravi Shankar, we would like to circulate. Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much.
Ravi, would you mind emailing me? Ravi, would you mind emailing me, please?
Definitely, I will do it. I will do it next. After this, I will do it.
Mr. Seshadri, can you just stop sharing your presentation, please? So that
what do you want?
Just stop sharing your presentation so we can see you on screen and we can start the question answer. Just close it. Yeah, thank you so much.
Perfect.
Friends, I think we did one survey about do you expect exports of non-woven to grow post-COVID? I think 84% participants agreed to it, 7% said no, and about 10% said they can't say. So I think we have a good future of Indian exports of non-woven product after COVID-19, I guess. And I would request my team to come out with a second survey question so that everybody can reply. Dr. Seshadri, we have a few set of questions which already got received from a few attendees. I would like to ask one of them first. The question is, how to control the GSM of melt-blown together with uniformity across the width and over long runs? If you can reply to this question.
It depends on the melt flow index. How control your melt flow index and your spinneret size are there, but it will have its own irregularity, but within the range of variability is more for non-wovens. As long as you are able to have some control on the type of polymer you use, then you have to make sure your conveyor belts are all uniform, they run uniformly and all those things.
Right, Dr. Seshadri. Dr. Seshadri, as far as India is concerned, we have a lot of fabric manufacturers for PPE kit, but those fabric, the material is not so much approved by the international fraternity. So do you prefer any R&D based on those fabrics, so on an economy basis, so that we can export also and same fabric can be supplied within India? I know you're smiling, but I think it's a question which everybody is asking. So,
so that is what type of PPE material. Most of the products in India don't have electric charge on them. They have to check if their melt-blown line has a charger. That's the problem. Earlier Chinese lines don't have a charger. So if they have an alternate positive and negative electric charge on a melt-blown, its particulate filtration is increased. So they have to check that. Without knowing that, it can't be certified. Okay, that's one thing you got to check. Your melt-blown should have a charger to it so that it has some electric in it.
No, but Dr.
I want to add, Sanyal, that electric device can always be added on a melt-blown line. Even
yeah,
now.
It can be added.
It can be added. So it's only a small investment. Everybody can afford it.
Yeah, but you got to worry about the patents. If somebody finds out, you got to check if it doesn't infringe on certain patents.
but we don't produce that much melt-blown fabric in India. So what about the
melt-blown-
current fabric capacity which we have?
We don't have that much melt-blown capability. That is right. But Chinese lines are coming. But even this morning, I told to 4 Ahmedabad people, they are asking me like anything, eating my brain. Okay. So I told them that check if those lines will have, like Ravi said, you could have an online or offline charging capability. You should have it and make sure the charge is uniform. So charge, you got to think about it. You add some, like Ravi said, you can do it in-house as well.
Right. Sir, the second.
The important thing is, see, you are comparing a Reifenhauser or a Oerlikon line with the Chinese line, which is costing, let us say, as you said, if the Reifenhauser is costing 3 million, Chinese is costing less than 1 million. So you can see the quality of the output. There is a technology involved in melt-blown. It is not as simple as it looks. So people should understand the technology and then make the product. Otherwise, the N95, if they really test, all of them will fail. The existing, whatever, they just put some polymer one side and take out the material like a typical spun bond baggage fabric. I think it will not pass the international test.
Even N95 has 5 to 7 layers inside. Each has its own functionality. Okay. But even spun bond, the 60 GSM spun bond, 60 to 70 lines, half of them, particularly in Gujarat, are not running because spinner head breaks down, then the polymer doesn't work well there. That's the problem. So there comes, this is what I have written to PM as well. I'm following it up as well. We need to strengthen, keep people like Ravi Shankar, strengthen the machinery capability. Time is there now. At least one has to be serious of upgrading the machinery capability in India. How did China do it? It's reverse engineering, copy, but they do fail here and there, right? So.
Right. Thanks, sir. The second question is why needle punching technology is not used for natural fibers?
Well, it is used for natural fiber. Who said it is not?
We have a question.
Huh?
We have a question. That's why I think we have a first question on the question answer.
It can be used, but only thing is knowledge know-how was not there. Okay, some people used polyester, so I am using polyester. It can be used, but cotton has to be cleaned.
Okay, fine. The third question is how do you maintain the thickness?
Needle punching is for a staple fiber. That's all.
Right, sir.
I think it is the most versatile technology. If you take needle punch, it's the most versatile technology and the old technology. People in this industry know it, and if they can handle cotton, if they can card, if they can do anything with the fiber, it can be needle punch. I think that is the funda.
Yeah, I think Mr. Meher Chand has asked this question. So maybe if Mr. Meher, if you have any other additional information on this, you can write to Mr. Ravi Shankar or Mr. Dr. Seshadri directly, and maybe they can reply in a better way. We move on to third question. How do you maintain the thickness and its uniformity across width and length of material?
Well, it's basically how you control your machine setting. It starts with it's a needle punching right from the gauges in the card and the cross slapper. Okay.
Right, sir. The another question is, if we get a test result of VF and PPE in certain parameters in production, how consistent the result would be?
That range is plus or minus 10%. That's it.
Okay, and if they get 99% result in testing, can we presume it will be plus or minus 4.5% across the melt-blown used?
Melt-blown will not give you 99%.
Okay. Fine. Mr. Ravi Shankar, can you see some of the question on the screen? Maybe if you find any in the question answer session, or if you find anyone which is more relevant to the entire participants, I think you or Dr. Seshadri can reply. Which can cover the overall information about non-woven industries.
No, the one question I see, I'm just going from the first to the last. Is DuPont providing Tyvek to Indian government for coveralls? DuPont is, they have to, DuPont don't make the coveralls, they only make the material. So the coveralls has to be done by a big other company who convert it into coveralls. So the government has to ask them if the price is right, if it is available. DuPont is also running extra capacity right now to meet the requirement. So if they have the material, they will give. I think America itself needs it more than us. So I doubt very much whether it will be available. Am I right? Do we have production facility Tyvek in India? No, we don't make the product. It's a closely guarded secret. But what I am suggesting is the textile research associations in India who have been provided hundreds of crores over, and they're going to get 1,000 crores in the next 5 years. They will have to spend the money in developing these kind of products like Sontaras and Tyvex. They will have to develop, make it as a focus, rather than spending money on testing instrument, that, this and those things. I think this is where the focus in India is missing to develop. And the non-woven manufacturers are so small, they have no money to do a lot of R&D work. So I think the government should spend the money wisely in developing these kind of products. I hope Ram Kumar agrees with me.
Sure.
I think we have another question, that what is the scope of viscose fiber in non-woven industries?
Well, it is the most widely used in terms of wipes. 65% is viscose, 35% polyester. So it is used. But viscose is expensive. You got to take it into that point as well. Viscose and all used.
Viscose is used in a big way. 10 to 12% of viscose production in the world is used in non-wovens, and that is used in wipes. So all these spunless wipes are...
Yeah, Birla viscose is... Yeah,
Birla is one of the major supplies of viscose. Yes, true. Now we have another question called temporary solution to make filter mask at home in this condition. I think let's because it's not now. Dr. Seshadri has developed his own mask, which is a better way to wear it.
I'm not saying it is the better result. It is like Ravi said, it's one product. But in India, not only they should focus on R&D, they should also make a concerted effort of marketing. That is also lacking. See, government can't sell something. That's the problem. Oh, I get me a buyback. That is also there. But one has to form. See, the associations of all involved in some products, one or two. But there should be accumulative efforts towards marketing. Right. This is the time that the industry as a whole, you win if everybody wins. So that concept, particularly in technical textile, it has to represent itself well. Okay.
But do you really feel that is there a temporary solution to make filter mask at home?
Yes, I told you no.
Okay. You can make it.
An example, take a coffee filter, try it. So that's one example I have given. Okay.
I think on the topic of marketing, Sanyal, I feel that what India is lacking is something like Alibaba of China. Right. There is no Indian marketing agency which is projecting it worldwide like Alibaba does. We need a Jack Ma in this business. So unless that comes, we cannot be in the export market in a big way. So what the association and what association can contribute is to take up with the government all these issues which we are talking, and then see that R&D, the marketing, all the issues are taken up at the right level at the Prime Minister's office, so the decisions come. Otherwise, it's all held up in the interministerial discussions and everything dies. This is the problem. Like today, nothing can be exported in 5603 because somebody said it cannot be exported. It's such a big problem for the spunlace manufacturers. They are in no way connected with the regular medical products, and their production is all stopped because they cannot export it. So a lot of communication gap is there in the industry. That is where associations like your Bujnon or Indicon or ITA should take up these issues and be proactive rather than just keeping quiet.
One thing I say is focus on the converting sector. You can get, okay, DuPont may sell, after a while, DuPont may sell the Tyvek, but it doesn't need much investment to have an ultrasonic bonding there. Put an ultrasonic bonding, nice stitched coverall, start marketing. So the focus should be not on making roll good. The focus should be on converting. Even you can import intermediary products. Okay, then make it into the product where rubber meets the road, where Walmarts and Costco's and Home Depots and Lowe's are going to buy. That concept is not there. because there are a couple of people, big names, one or two who had invested in Spunlace. They are the people who represent in your ETA everywhere. So they have to take care of their interests. But that's not where the industry grows. The industry grows because of SMEs. That is what the state in America. 70% of the GDP is controlled by small business players. So that's where the strength should be there. Convert, develop products which a common Joe Blow uses, not simply, okay, I want to put a meltblown machine. One, what do you do with the meltblown machine? Somebody can absorb the product. So build that industry. That's a typical Reliance mantra. It started with Vimal, then they went for backward integration. Why is this industry not thinking? If you start mushrooming the converting sector, then work out the regulations, work out the duty structure, then most cost is why you have to import the final product, import the intermediary product, right? And
Right.
then convert. So it will lead to a lot of people. I don't have to teach to Gujaratis how to do business, but think that's what you should do, okay?
Right, sir.
Now,
Mr.
now
Ravi, we have
the
been
basic
talking,
problem with non-owns is the inability of the manufacturers or the converters to market the product, or their willingness to market. They can do marketing, but their willingness to market, spend money. If you're spending 2 crores on a machine, you have to spend 50 lakhs on marketing, setting up a marketing setup, setting up distributors, that is not being done in India. That is why the conversion industry is not taking up so fast. Otherwise, there is a market. Products come from China. Everybody wants a ready product. So since the manufacturers, the converters are not spending money on marketing, as Ram rightly said, this is where they have to capitalize. If they spend 2 lakh machine, 50 lakhs marketing cost, 2,50,000 is my project cost. Then everything goes. Even the bankers should recognize it. As simple as that. But somehow it doesn't get into the people's mind. That's what I have been struggling with.
It should be considered as a cost of the project itself, at least for one
That's
or
why I said capitalized. That's what I said. It is capitalized.
Mr. Ravi Shankar, we have been talking to various associations, across India to have a non-movement federation for India based, right? And I think after this COVID-19 gets over, I think we'll be able to, come out with this solution, because now we have a couple of associations in Gujarat and west part of India. We have some associations in Delhi. So we all are talking to make one federation, combining of all the associations, so they can market the product well, and they can represent from non-owned industries to government as well. As we know that
Mr. Desai, to market it, you need to have a product basket that is not there. So you only have spun bond and then pack tech and here and there. Improve the product basket first. That's the problem even with your commodity textile. Our product market is very limited compared to China, even in your routine fiber. Just build the product base. Then only the federation also will have strength. If you are just saying, then the government has to think about the economics, right? Then they say, what's your market share? If I'm only having 60 spun bond lines, okay, your market capacity is less, then how could you lobby? So build the product base first. To do that, focus on converting first. Now I have given you ideas on products. Couple of people got to develop products, put it out. Okay.
Right.
Be at forefront.
right.
Okay.
We are happy to share that the second survey has about 96% agrees that India needs a lot of R&D for in the future non-woven industries. 2% say no, and 2% say can't say. So I think it's a good percentage where industry is agreeing to R&D in non-woven industries. I think we have a couple of more questions. Maybe you can reply. Can we use taffeta material as a better filter between two layers of spun bond material?
No, it has got a 80 micron hole. The taffeta has got an 80 micron hole. So what are you filtering? So I doubt very much that is the way. This is from typically this is a Surat question. I can understand.
Okay, then we have another question. Spunboy by antibacterial chemical in master batch. Can we use for PPE?
Antibacterial has no sense for virus. So that's a problem. I put antibacterial and then they are saying for PPE, so it won't. They are very specific. These are all very specific, right? Very specific.
You see, the gowns are also called antiviral barrier. Antibacterial is different and antiviral barriers are different. So it has to meet the final purpose, as Ram said. In the end, it has to meet the purpose for which we are using it. If we are using it against a virus, it has to be antiviral, not antibacterial.
I think Dr. Seshadri, if you have time, then we have a lot of questions which you can ask for, or you want us to mail, because I know it's already midnight there.
Yeah, it's one and a half hours. People will get bored if you stay longer.
Fine. So thank you so much, Dr. Seshadri. Thank you so much, Mr. Ravi Shankar, for coming and giving insight on non-owned industries to our all the participants who has come from 7 countries across the world. Dear panelists and dear participants, I think we would like to come more and more by doing such webinars. So if anyone would be interested to have some kind of presentation, they can always write to us and we'll come back to you. And I also request Mr. Ravi Shankar and Dr. Seshadri to come up with a few new ideas, maybe on a subject base or maybe on an industry base, so we can have more and more webinars for our panelists in the coming future as well. So thank you so much, everybody. Have a good night, Dr. Seshadri and Mr. Ravi Shankar. Have a good day to you as well, and all the participants have a good day to you as well. If any conclusion is there from both the panelists, you can conclude in maybe 30 seconds each.
It's fine. Be safe.
Okay. I would say be safe. I would say create capacity in non-movements. We have no capacity. I think that is what is important in India.
Yes. Ravi, if you can share me your presentation, please.
I will send it right now. I'll send it after this meeting. Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ram. Thanks. Nice seeing you.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Thank you so much. Participants, we will be sharing the presentation, and we will also share this link of entire this webinar on YouTube, so you can look at it whenever you get time. We will come back with the link in next 5 to 7 days time. So thank you so much for attending. Thank you so much.